the fastest way to buy Bitcoin in Australia from an exchange you can trust. Bitcoin.com.au.
Blockchain technology, it's clear we are seeing something quite revolutionary that's going to change our world.
Recognition, I'm on a mission, I'm paying dues, I'm in position, I'm staying up, it's getting late, you're doing good, I'm doing great.
There's a huge push into connecting the physical world with the blockchain.
It's always a good idea for investors to make the trend befriend.
You're doing good, I'm doing great.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Coincast TV. I'm your host, Chris Masasma. Thank you for tuning in every week to see how blockchain technology is changing the world around us. This week, we head to Las Vegas. What happens in Vegas? Well, we're going to tell you about it. We hear from the former White House aide to Barack Obama about fighting corruption with blockchain. We'll speak with Michael Casey from the Netflix documentary Banking on Bitcoin. And what's next for Bitcoin? Is a recovery in sight? For more on the week that was in crypto, we'll cross to our reporter Kema Johnson.
This week in blockchain, the big news of the week is the SEC in the United States again disapproving of several proposals for a Bitcoin ETF. The latest rejection involves two ETFs filed by ProShares that would track Bitcoin futures contracts. Meantime, the Winklevoss twins are behind a push to police the crypto space. The new self-regulatory group started by the twins has already teamed up with several large exchanges, including Bitstamp and Bittrex. The group aims to prevent market manipulation and other types of fraud. Over to the country of Venezuela, where it's been announced its oil-backed cryptocurrency Petro will now be used officially as an alternative currency. The total of 100 million Petros have been issued on the NEM blockchain. The government says it can now be used as a legal tender to pay for fees, taxes and public services. And in a major development in Thailand, Thai regulators are formalising the crypto market in the country. Thailand's Securities and Exchange Commission announced new regulations back in May. Authorities have now approved 7 businesses to conduct crypto operations in the country. No doubt, we're seeing more evidence of regulation in the space.
Technology is rapidly disrupting old business models. We are in an era where the world's largest accommodation provider owns no property, and the world's largest taxi company owns no cabs. Blockchain technology is changing the face of business, and for the first time in history, we have an emerging ideas economy.
At a packed auditorium at Curtin University, blockchain author, commentator and thought leader Michael Casey explained how blockchain technology is creating a new business paradigm. Perhaps best known for his commentary on the Netflix documentary Banking on Bitcoin, Michael Casey said crypto assets are like nothing that's been before.
There's this discussion of a new asset class as if it were another commodity, another form of gold or a bond or a stock. What you're buying when you're buying crypto is you're buying an idea. You're buying a very different idea about the way the world should be shaped than what it is now.
He says it's too simplistic to compare digital currencies to paper money. And if anything, Bitcoin is more like gold.
I see Bitcoin itself becoming like a digital gold, a reserve currency into which other tokens of value are ultimately stored or are converted into when people want to hang on to assets and stores of value in a really reliable digital form.
Crypto assets have had a wild ride this year, with the price of Bitcoin and others retreating from their January highs. But just like the dot-com boom and bust of the 90s, the speculative capital in blockchain technology is helping to build the infrastructure for the future.
So all of these coins and ideas and dApps and so forth are being written into open source code. That's being laid there for people to use, for anybody to use, even more freely than that infrastructure of the 90s was able to be used. And it is a direct outcome of all of that speculative activity. So you need to step back and look at what's going on from a big picture. That's what I find the most interesting thing, not how you're going to make a quick buck on the movements back or forth of whatever coin you happen to be obsessed with.
When you go to the doctor, you want to be sure that the person treating you has a medical degree. Stamping out fake qualifications is #1 on the priority list of Disciplina, which is developing the first blockchain to create verified personal profiles based on academic and professional achievements.
Disciplina is a multifunctional blockchain to create and keep the personal profiles, which would store digitalized information about student academic and professional skills and his achievements. Our goal is to provide universities a good instrument for monetization of their data, because universities today, they store data not only about their current students, but all of the data about their graduates. There are a lot of professions in our everyday life which people who are doing these professions should have relevant skills. Like, for example, doctors. It is very dangerous if a doctor doesn't have, skills he claims to have. We want to get rid of fake degrees, fake diplomas, and of course of fake doctors, fake drivers, fake developers, and any kind of fake professions. The market of recruitment and market of human resources is very difficult in terms of management. We want to get rid of intermediates in this market and to connect and put together human resource headhunters and universities.
Let's check in on the top cryptocurrencies of the week, brought to you by Caleb and Brown. A look at the major coins. Bitcoin is finding some stability, despite the ETF applications continuing to be rejected. It's bouncing around in the mid $6,000 mark. One of the biggest movers this week is VeChain. VeChain, a China-based IoT-focused crypto, saw a big price rise on the back of some key partnerships, including PricewaterhouseCoopers. VeChain Thor also rose after announcing a blockchain vaccine tracing solution for China. Nano also saw a big price rise. It kicked off its main net launch this week and is trading at around $2. Also trading around a $2 mark is Ontology. It's seen a bit of a rise and fall over the past few days. And now to Caleb and Brown's crypto spotlight of the week, Pundi X. The Indonesia-based startup will be rolling out 1,000 of its point-of-sale devices to retail outlets across crypto hotspot South America. Coming up, Viva Las Vegas! All the lights, all the action, all the news from BlockShow Americas.
You're doing good, I'm doing great.
A former White House aide, a UFC champion, and an ex-Wall Street analyst meet at a casino to talk about the future of blockchain. Only in Vegas. Our reporter Cherie Yip finds out whether it's time to cash in your crypto chips. Las Vegas, the bright light city that oozes cool. Home to more than 150 casinos, some of the largest hotels in the world, and that welcome to fabulous Las Vegas sign. This week, it was the home to BlockShow Americas 2018. 2 whole days of who's who in blockchain. Former aide to President Obama, Joanna Maska was there, the woman responsible for shaping how the former president was seen by the eyes of the world, spoke to our reporter Cherie.
I worked with President Obama for 8 years. I was his director of press advance. I started at the very beginning of the Iowa caucuses. So I talked about the power of one voice, how one voice shaped our campaign.
Now heading up her own communications firm, Maska took part in a key discussion on global blockchain regulations and shared her thoughts on engagement.
And the importance of engagement when you have new ideas, whether it's new technologies or a new candidate.
And it's no secret we're starting to see cracks in the ICOs. But Bobby Lee, who co-founded China's first Bitcoin exchange, BTCC, says this is how the market goes and we'll be out of bear territory soon. It's just a matter of riding out the cycle.
Bitcoin crypto prices go in cycles. So we saw the bull market starting in the late 2016, going through all of 2017. That was a huge bull market. And in 2018, naturally, was correction time.
Lee pointed to the 2013 bull market and the bear territory that followed in 2014 and edged into 2015. So, if it repeats on a 4-year cycle, the Bitcoin pioneer says better days are just around the corner.
But I'm very confident that after the next block halving, that will be in 2020, in the spring of 2020. So exactly 2 years from now, 24 months from now, in August of 2020, I think we'll see some good stuff.
In amongst the tech crowd, Cherie spotted a former UFC middleweight champion. So what was the Count, Michael Bisping, doing there? Turns out, he's into blockchain and is an ambassador for Timmy Health, a health info exchange that rewards its users with crypto.
It's our data, it's our DNA. We should control it, we should gain from it, we should benefit from it.
The results are in, and this week the term wrecked overtook hodl in Google rankings. After crunching the numbers, have we seen the end of Cryptogeddon? It was only 10 short days ago when headlines blazed crypto crash and the end is nigh, but such news tends to fade rather quickly in a 24-hour news cycle. Consulting a 1 month or even 2 year chart shows a spectacular history of appreciation and falls. For one, the week ending August 11, the likes of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and indeed Ripple had experienced falls of 8, 26, and 28% respectively. However, within 1 week, a reversal in the price of digital currencies, and there was hardly a murmur in the mainstream press. Simply put, misery will always find home in a newsroom. On the week ending August 18, Bitcoin's 8% fall from the previous week had seen an 11% gain. While the falls earlier in the month were one of the larger moves in digital currencies, in recent months, it is important to point out that the rebounds we have seen are now equally strong. When looking at the major digital currencies over the last week, the graphs show peak, valley, and trough. As cryptocurrencies continue to negotiate the minefield that is volatility, it is important to remember to love the data first and question the headline second. Up next, we head back to Vegas for an in-depth look at some real use cases for blockchain. Joanna Maska believes the technology can make some real positive impact in developing countries.
It's not an easy question whether blockchain and smart contracts can be used to rid a government of corruption. But if anyone's well placed to answer it, it's Joanna Maska. The former White House aide was part of President Obama's inner circle for 8 years and has taken a strong interest in the world of tech since.
I actually started paying attention to fintech, health tech, and gov tech when I left the White House. For the reason that I think a lot of those areas are areas that you can have terrific impact with technology.
It's estimated $1 trillion is lost from developing countries every year to corruption. Money is lost through illegal tax evasion, money laundering, use of shell companies, and shady natural resource deals. On stage at BlockShow Americas this week, Maska was asked if she sees smart contracts being used to assist developing countries plagued by corruption. A smart contract, also known as a crypto contract, is a computer program that directly controls the transfer of digital currencies or assets between parties under certain conditions.
I absolutely agree that some of those technologies can help. I don't think that that we can wholly trust, that all people in any sector, whether it's technology, are all out for everyone's good.
Governments around the world are already going digital, embracing innovations to modernise and strengthen their systems. It's in response to growing concerns around data privacy and declining trust in government. Blockchain makes corruption more difficult because it can certify records and transactions, or blocks, without the use of a central database. And it can do all that in a way that can't be erased, altered, or tampered with.
So to that extent, I think there's going to have to be some, like consumer protection.
Using blockchain to build trust and transparency is top of the political agenda in many countries. It was talked about at the World Economic Forum on Latin America earlier this year.
Right now, in developing countries, you don't have governments enforcing a lot of these laws.
And that has a twofold effect, according to Maska.
People could take advantage of that, which I don't want to see, and people could actually use that to help lift communities up out of a situation where they've been victim to corruption.
It goes without saying the latter is the preference.
My hope is that those who really care about it will go in and help try to create that transparency so that people there are not taken advantage of.
Now let's take a look at the top ICOs to watch, brought to you by CTIA.
Thanks, Chris. One of the biggest ICOs to watch over the next couple of weeks is Gabro. The platform is seeking to disrupt the loyalty rewards marketplace by allowing consumers to both redeem and manage loyalty points using blockchain. The public sale is scheduled to end next week. For sporting fans, you could run your next fantasy sports competition using blockchain. The Crown League is owned by fans and is seeking to raise $100 million. The investment gaming platform's public sale is scheduled for later this year. Another ICO to keep your eye on is Legal Things One. Coined the blockchain for businesses, it allows for decentralized workflow while also maintaining full GDPR compliance and data privacy. And founder of peer-to-peer marketplace, or dApp Store Centrality, has been named a category winner at this year's New Zealand EY Entrepreneur of the Year Awards. The platform gives you back control over your data.
In a challenging week for crypto, many are wondering when Bitcoin will rise again. Caleb & Brown's Chief Operating Officer Jackson Zheng heads one of Australia's largest cryptocurrency brokerages. He spoke with our reporter Heidi Cuthbert about where Bitcoin is heading.
I'm joined now by the Chief Operating Officer of Caleb & Brown, Jackson Zheng. Now, Jackson, one of the biggest topics in the cryptocurrency space in the last couple of weeks has been the price of Bitcoin. Can you explain to us what's been happening?
So we've seen a fairly sharp drop in the price of Bitcoin, mainly catalyzed by the SEC rejection of the Winklevoss Twins ETF application. I don't think this price reaction is any cause for major concern because we still have a CBOE application due for ruling in late September, along with a number of other Bitcoin ETF applications. The institutional demand to add Bitcoin to their portfolio as a store of value hedge against systemic risk is very real, and they're just waiting for a way to gain access without the risk of self-custody.
So where is the price of Bitcoin going? Do you have any insight you can share with us?
So Bitcoin's currently going through a price consolidation phase with extremely strong support at the $6,000 mark. Now, over the last year, we've reached or gotten close to the $6,000 mark 4 times now, and each time it has gotten close to this point, we experience over a 30-day period at least a 30% recovery. So at this price, I'm bullish on Bitcoin.
Now, of course, the other big topic is the price declines in Ethereum. Now, some of the speculation is because it's ICOs who are selling their capital raises to raise cash in Ethereum. Can you please explain how that works and explain why that's the case?
Yes, I think ICO liquidations play a significant role in the price drop of Ether. If you consider a project that did their capital raise in February, the price of Ether has now gone from $1,000 to $300. So that company's funding has been slashed by 70%. That poses an enormous risk for the project, and you'll find that capital raisers now are opting to liquidate that Ethereum right at the end of their capital raise, so they have exactly the amount of capital they've planned for, and they can focus without worrying about the price on building the projects that have been funded.
So the big question is, what is the future of altcoins?
I think we're going to see a real consolidation in the altcoin market. During 2017, we had a huge pickup in public attention, far surpassing the number of developers working on projects. This caused an oversubscription of investors in the few projects actually available. Now, we're seeing over 50% Bitcoin dominance. This is the highest it's been since December last year, which shows a lack of confidence in the altcoin market. That's why I think we're going to see a real consolidation of money back into the projects with real use cases and reasonable roadmaps of commercial adoption within the next 5 years.
Thank you very much, Jackson. Appreciate your time. And back to you in the studio, Chris.
Now let's take a look at the week ahead with our reporter Tessa Dempster.
Thanks, Chris. This week, all eyes will be on the price of Bitcoin following the SEC's decision to continue to disapprove crypto-related ETFs. However, it's not going to be an easy road ahead for the world's largest cryptocurrency, as the SEC has announced it will delay the Van Eck ETF until the end of September. But over in the Middle East, ADAB Solutions is developing the first Islamic crypto exchange, which is Sharia compliant. The FICE exchange will allow for halal crypto transactions and will open the market up to Islamic financial assets worth $3.8 trillion. In conferences, the Blockchains conference opens today in Hamburg, Germany. Also kicking off is the Voice of Blockchain in Chicago, US. That's all for this week. Back to you, Chris.
He's helped teach more than 50,000 people via YouTube. He's well versed in subjects such as blockchain, cryptocurrency, and coding. And he's only 9 years old.
A blockchain is just a list of records. What do I mean by records? It's a list of records called blocks. And these blocks are stored on computers.
Kamea Aloha Jr., also known as Crypto Coin Kid, is from Hawaii and is helping people more than 3 times his age to understand the emerging technology.
So every time we exchange digital money or Bitcoin, all of these computers know about it. They keep a record, so you and me can't lie.
So if you don't understand blockchain and cryptocurrency, perhaps just ask the next generation. Thank you for joining us. You will find us on your screens every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will find us on Apple TV as well. Just look for the Coincast TV tile. You can catch some of our stories on the Wall Street Journal online. And if you want more information about the projects on tonight's show, please visit coincasttv.com. I'm your host, Chris Masasma, and until next week, keep hodling.